by breaking the hardest nut on the planet, who broke both the nut and the splinter.
That's what she said. Michael.
When you think of Christmas stories, quite a few come to mind. The Grinch, Charlie Brown, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and Frosty the Snowman, to name a few. They're timeless and loved by millions across the world. But there's one story that has been around for over 2 centuries now, and it goes by the name of the Nutcracker and the Mouse King. Most people are familiar with the ballet version of the story, and the music that goes with it. To say it's a classic would be an understatement. And since the Nutcracker falls into public domain, that means that anybody can use its composition. Because of that, we see many versions of the story that range from live-action fantasy to the freaking Care Bears.
This magical journey also includes music from the classic Nutcracker suite.
But there's an iteration of this classic tale that is pure chaos. And I truly mean that. I present to you all the Nuttiest Nutcracker.
My Nutcracker!
You might as well call this Identity Crisis the movie. If I showed you this clip from the film, would you have guessed that it had anything to do with the original story? Yeah, I didn't think so. And funny enough, this film is like the complete opposite of last week's review. Now, don't get me wrong. Both of these movies are terrible. But while The Christmas Tree had horrible voice acting and a slow story, The Nuttiest Nutcracker has amazing voice talent, but a story that goes flying off the rails. Like, you can't even blink or you'll be completely lost. Alright, so who's behind the movie? I did some research, and the studio who made this movie was Dan Kretsch Productions. The person in charge of everything was, you guessed it, Dan Kretsch. He established the animation studio in Canada back in 1985 and found semi-success with it. But he eventually sold the company off and is no longer involved with it. I looked into the catalog of films the studio worked on, and it includes Joseph, King of Dreams, Everyone's Hero, and a few seasons of VeggieTales. I was actually wondering if they had anything to do with VeggieTales, because some of the characters from this movie look like they're straight out of that universe. The movie itself came out in 1999 and sported computer animation, which was the hot new thing to do thanks to Toy Story. The writers for this movie are Cindy McKay and Diana Eskenazi. Oof, that is a unfortunate last name. She's actually the person who came up with this movie. Both of these writers have been involved in many shows over the years, and no. God, no!
No! No!
That was close.
Oompa! Oompa!
Something that really bothers me about this movie, though, is the budget. I don't know if this number is 100% accurate, but if it is, then good lord, somebody was ripped off. Like I said before, the voice talent for this movie is pretty damn good. You got Cheech Marin, Phyllis Diller, Debbie Derryberry, Jim Cummings, and many others. That being said, $84,000 is barely enough to cover for the voice talent, let alone all of the artists who worked on this movie, and there were quite a few of them. Maybe this movie was a flop, which I'm pretty sure is the case, and Columbia TriStar wrote it off in their taxes or something. I don't know, but I do know that this movie is one of the worst versions of the Nutcracker I've ever seen, and it's an abomination compared to the original.
That's not a song. It's an abomination!
So we start off with some music from the Nutcracker, and then this disgusting sugar plum floats onto the screen. We're not even a minute into the film, and we already got a nut pun.
Yeah, you probably figured it's the same old, but this one's got a nutty little twist.
We swerve our way through a snowy city and zoom in on one of our main characters, Barbie. I'm sorry, Marie.
How can they leave me alone on Christmas Eve?
Marie's uncle, El Drosselmeyer, shows up and tells the kids that their parents are running late for Christmas.
What an awful Christmas this is going to be.
Don't close your heart to Christmas, child. Why, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
He's voiced by Jim Cummings, who is the voice of Pete, so that's all I can really hear.
The way I see it, it's my last night of babysitting, and I'm a free man. Oh, yeah! Yahoo!
Something that bothers me about this story is how Marie gets angry at her parents for being late, even though it's completely out of their control. Like, they're stuck in the snow. They can't help it. Then she blames it all on Christmas and throws a hissy fit.
What's the big deal about Christmas anyway? I just wish it would go away forever.
We then get whacked upside the head with one of the most ridiculous parts of the movie, and that is the nuts.
Move over, would you? My foot's stuck.
Give a girl some elbow room, will you?
I don't even know where to begin. We got old Confederate soldier Peanut, old man Nutsack, Rastafarian Nut, Nut Boy, whose eyes roll back into his head. Ew. And then there's Discount Nathan Lane Nut.
It's academic, my macadamian friend. The girl is a human, and you are plain nuts.
Oh, and of course the girl character gets a sensual body, because she's a female. It's like the Emoji Movie all over again.
With nuts!
So we get some background story of the Nutcracker Prince, and just strap yourself in.
You see, the Nutcracker Prince was in love with Princess Perlipat, the most beautiful girl in the kingdom.
Yeah, but the old mouse queen, she was a real shrew, and she was awful jealous of the princess.
One day, when the prince was away, the mouse queen gave the girl a terrible bite.
And turned her into the all-time absolute ugliest thing that ever walked.
For there was but one way to break the dreadful spell. By breaking the hardest nut on the planet. Many tried and many failed. Except the Nutcracker Prince, who broke both the nut and the spell.
And the princess was once again...
There is so much to take in here. First off, why would a bunch of nuts have a nutcracker as their leader? That's kind of terrifying. It's like a bunch of chickens having a fox as their king. Next, the origin of the prince. Are you telling me that he had to bust the biggest nut to save the princess? I'm gonna try it again. I can do it. Are you telling me that he had to bust the biggest nut to save the princess? I can't say it straight. Are you telling me he had to bust the biggest nut to save the princess? Because that's great.
Nut.
Finally, the sexual undertones of this movie. They need to chill out.
A terrible loss for women everywhere.
All right, so we're back to Marie and her brother, who's being a little shit.
Give him back! Stop! You'll hurt him! Oh boy.
Okay, so a little bit of a PSA. Don't ever climb up a ladder if someone is already on it, especially if there's nobody supporting it. You might get hurt. So Marie puts her toy boy into a cupboard. We are then introduced to the villain of the movie, who is voiced by Jim Belushi. He is Reginald the Mouse King, and is one of the jiggliest characters I've ever seen. His stomach is like an anime breast.
In my cheese mines!
One of the silver linings of this movie is the music. It's the Nutcracker, so of course it's gonna be awesome. You got an incredible library of existing stuff to pick from. You would have to be a complete idiot to screw this up.
I'm the prince of Provolone, I'm the king of Campbell.
Okay, so this song isn't the worst, but why would you even bother? Again, you have amazing stuff already, but whatever. Also, this song goes on for far too long. There's even a part where you think it's going to end, but starts right up all over again.
The big cheese. I live my life with the big flair.
So the Mouse King marches into battle against toy soldiers who just come out of nowhere. And then a scene happens that gives me flashbacks to Sausage Party and Food Fight.
Food fight!
Hoffman is rolling in his grave. All of this chaos is going on. Puns, random characters coming out of nowhere, freaking fart jokes. Okay, that was pretty good.
Now Christmas will be kaputski done over finito finish. Fini!
Wait, this can't be happening.
She's remarkably calm for being surrounded by talking mice and food. Oh, and Grandpa Nut just gives up on life.
You go on, Lily, save yourself. You're young. I'm old. I've lived a full life. Enough! Why, you should be ashamed of yourselves chasing a bunch of poor unarmed nuts.
Also, look at the Peanuts' face freak out while being carried away.
Come on, little P. We gotta get out of here.
But don't worry. The Nut Prince awakes from his slumber and is rocking a beautiful anime face.
Don't give up hope, my friends.
My Nutcracker!
Oh no, he's hot!
Also, why doesn't he look like the toy that was put into the cupboard? Like, they're very different. Oh, and by the way, this guy is voiced by Cam Clark, the same dude who voiced Leonardo, and, get this, Eddie the Eagle.
Stop! Don't touch! I'm Eddie Eagle, and I like you too much to see you get hurt, and that's why I say, if you spot a gun, just walk away!
I guess we're going full circle here.
Cat got your tongue?
You dare use that tone to me, Reginald? Mouse King, soldier, sailor, lover!
Time to say goodbye, nut boy.
Nut boy.
You're mad!
Mad with passion!
Oh, okay, so I guess the Mouse King is kind of rapey. Got it. And what the hell is even going on? This movie went from Sausage Party to VeggieTales to anime to sexual harassment in like 2 minutes. So we find out that the Christmas star is magical, and whoever has it controls the kingdom.
The final piece to ruling the entire Christmas kingdom forever! Through it! Right here! Come on, baby!
The star then transforms Marie into a smaller Marie and finishes her Barbie transition.
Princess, I can hardly believe it's you.
Listen, would you mind pinching that? I need to wake up now. Ouch! Hey, that hurt! Cut it out!
Why are you angry? You asked him to pinch you. Oh, hey, can you pinch me? Ah! Why'd you do that? So Marie somehow broke the spell, and everybody is cheering for her. Even Marie can't believe the script of this movie.
You know, they're nuts.
Handsome prince has returned to rule again.
So what I'm seeing here is a nut rubbing up against some nuts.
No Christmas, why it wouldn't be Christmas without it.
We gotta have Christmas.
Why don't we do it's Christmas Eve?
We can't not have Christmas!
Oh my god, these characters are ridiculous.
We can't not have Christmas!
Christmas is canceled.
So we're told that the star needs to be put back on the Christmas tree, or Christmas won't happen for anybody. So what do? They sing a gospel song.
Raise up your hands and say you believe, and you will feel the most miraculous thing.
I feel like I'm back at Gaither's Pond all over again. Ah, yes, a Southern gospel song by a bunch of anthro-nuts, vegetables, and the anime prince. Just like the original Nutcracker. So instead of putting the star back on the tree, which is literally right over there, they decide to teleport to another world instead. I really don't understand why, but whatever.
Believe all it takes is a little faith to see the world in a wondrous way.
Isn't this just great? Some of the characters are just stuck in place. I guess you can call them frozen vegetables. I'm sorry. It's so strange to have a semi-Christian song in this movie. Like, is this film religious or something? So we arrive at the king's palace, where there's a river of what appears to be fecal matter.
Where is she? Well, there is word, sir, that she heads to the Christmas kingdom in the company of the prince.
She's with Nut Boy.
Nut.
You're going the wrong way.
No, you are.
He said this way.
It's this way.
Okay, which way? He said that way.
There are way too many characters. I thought we were pushing it already with all of the nuts, but this is ridiculous.
This way.
Oh, okay.
I love this shot of Marie. She looks like someone's got a gun to her back, and she's told she can't scream or they'll shoot.
Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
Prepare my men for the final conquest.
Oh, okay. I guess the king has flying cheese scooters. Why not?
I don't see anything.
Try again. Only this time, look with your heart.
Kano wins.
Yes. Beautiful.
Pretty as a peanut.
Cute as a cabbage.
Beautiful as broccoli.
Good looking, too. Yes, sir. Positively radiant.
Can you all just chill out? God, bunch of thirsty creeps, aren't you?
Exactly like a princess.
Dude, don't touch me.
Before we lose the G rating, might I remind everyone we're on a deadline?
Yeah, man, you already busted one nut. Best to not make it two.
Nut.
But the Mouse King shows up and kidnaps Marie. We then find her at the heart of the Poop River. So we get another song that I am 99% sure is an actual Christian song about following Jesus. I mean, just listen to the lyrics.
I will hold you and help you stand. Feel the love that's all around. God's love showering down.
Ah, isn't it romantic? Dancing in the poop factory to Jesus music with an anime guy. So Marie is sitting on the throne with the king as he talks her ear off.
The glow seems to illuminate my face.
His belly is so fat that everything clips into him. We then get this weird scene where Marie is trying to talk sense into the Mouse King. But then the scene fades out while she's still talking.
No one ever gives me anything.
This angle really isn't doing any favors to the Nut Prince. I thought the windmill was his dick at first.
Me, Lil P.
So Nut Boy and his raid group are sneaking into the castle as the Mouse King does a striptease. Wow, they made a mouse version of the Sistine Chapel. Cool.
Hello, Reginald.
Nut Boy?
Nut.
We then get an epic fight sequence.
That broccoli and color glow here. Flash and smile. Hold the pomegranate.
Marie, for some reason, runs outside and traps herself.
Something tells me that wasn't the smartest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, lady, you're absolutely right. I think my personal favorite part of Hoffman's Nutcracker is the flying cheese scooter.
That opening is awfully small.
That's what she said. Ha! I don't get it.
Ooh, those are just straight up pictures of a mine shaft. Wait, how'd they get there? They were just in the castle. And what's this guy blowing? So the Mouse King and his flabby legs fall into a pool of cheese. And Marie, being the dummy that she is, goes back to save him.
I've got it. I dropped it.
Wow, this guy's a jerk. Let him die. But of course, they save him, 'cause it's Christmas. So the group thinks that the star is lost, but the Mouse King gives it to them.
All right. Not that I care about Christmas or anything,
Don't kiss him, don't kiss him! Ugh, gross. And why are they thanking him? He caused all of this. So they arrive at the Sugar Plum's castle and give her the star so she can restore Christmas. 'Cause that was so much easier than climbing a tree. Also, look at her legs. They jiggle around like they're broken.
This Mr. Bad Guy Rat is worried about Christmas.
So it turns out that Marie and her love is the key to restoring the star.
Do you think it has the power to bring Mom and Dad home?
I had hoped you'd stay.
Boy, I just met you like 2 hours ago. You can go ahead and just chill out. Also, fix your pants, because you got one hell of a front wedgie going on. So Marie wakes up with her parents home for Christmas.
Marie, wake up.
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
She then starts to share her story, but the parents just think she's crazy.
What are you talking about, Marie?
Also, and I don't know how this happened, but Nut Boy somehow turns human and shows up at Marie's house.
Is it you?
I said I'd always be with you.
If I was Marie's dad, I'd be like, who the hell's this guy? Get out of here, it's Christmas, we don't know you.
Oh, jingle bells, I do love a happy ending.
And that's the end of the movie. Well, it would, but the Sugar Plum Fairy keeps showing up during the credits and won't stop talking. Seriously, she won't shut up.
I think I deserve a little thank you, or at least a kiss.
Believe in Christmas and your heart.
All right, forget it. But don't come to me looking for help the next time.
Shut the fuck up!
Finally, the movie is officially over, and we can put this fever dream behind us.
We come from the nut.
All right, let's go over my 5 points. First, the story. This movie felt like it was 4 in 1. The Nutcracker, Sausage Party, Veggie Tales, freaking Gaither's Pond. It couldn't decide what it wanted to be, so it did it all. I have no problem with people having their own interpretation of the Nutcracker, or any classical story. Shrek, for example, breaks all of those tropes, and it was great. But here, it feels like vomit. There are moments that blast you in the face with content, and it leaves you dazed and confused. Next, the editing. There's not much to say about it. The audio was balanced, and I could hear things, so at least there's that. But there were times where things are cut too quickly and messes with the pacing. But I'm not sure if that's a story problem or an editing problem. All I know is that it's a problem, and I get lost in the chaos.
This asparagus needs butter, stat! If it doesn't like egg peas, and the celery must have salt!
After that, we have the dialogue. It got pretty awkward, especially with the Mouse King. He went from, oh, I want to take over Christmas, to, I want to have sex with you, in like 30 seconds. The background characters were also weird with how they spoke. I know it's supposed to be funny, but it was just strange to me. And the romance between Nut Boy and the girl is super basic, and so is their dialogue.
I'd really love to stay, but I can't.
I'll always be with you.
Midnight!
Also, the chatter between the nuts is annoying and pointless. I don't even know why they're in the movie to begin with. I guess it's because the movie is called The Nuttiest Nutcracker, and that's the pun. Really though, the movie sounds more like a porno to me. Next, we have the voice acting. The voice actors themselves are great. You got some serious talent in this movie, but the problem I see are the characters themselves. Like, why is he in the movie? I mean, sure, Cheech is an amazing voice actor, but that doesn't matter. The character sucks, and his lines suck. You could have Christopher Lee voicing this movie, and it still wouldn't have been good. Well, you know what, maybe it would have been good. And finally, the animation. These character models are strange and look like they're from different movies and shows. You got Barbie, VeggieTales guy, the California Raisins, anime, Chuck E. Cheese, racism. Sausage Party, Racism Again, and then Sugar Rush. None of them really mesh up together and just seem out of place. Also, there's a lot of clipping and twitching in this movie. Faces, legs, eyes. It's hilariously bad. The backgrounds also look pretty rough, but with an $84,000 budget, I'm surprised it doesn't look worse. My heart goes out to all of the artists who were stuck on this movie and had very little to work with. I mean, can you imagine being told that the character you have to design was called Nut Boy? I probably wouldn't be able to work with a straight face.
She's with Nut Boy.
Overall, this isn't one of the worst things I've seen, but it's definitely one of the most confusing. But next week, we're gonna review a movie that is based on a computer game from 1998. An adaptation that really wasn't necessary.
Imbeciles! Imbeciles, get ready!
See you all next week.